R.A. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to my apostles, a great millstone, and peace and salutation to the hopeful members of the elect, the Bacharim in the house of David, that's been preordained, predestined, to get delivered in these last times, and to be the ruling, governing body of the nation of Yashala. All right, coming back at you with another lesson, and this is the recent death of Nolan Wells. All right, let me see if I can go on X real quick. Okay, find a post just to show you. All right, bear me 1 second. Okay. Okay, student athlete Nolan Wells was known to be popular with women. Three different female. Okay, whatever. That's not what I'm looking for. Because he was with Edomites. All right, he was with Edomites, and he was found dead. I believe it was on the 4th of July. I'm gonna play that video. I'm gonna go back to it. But either way, you know, this just goes to show you that you cannot be friends with the wicked. All right, you cannot be friends with the wicked. Never trust thy enemy. Don't be buddy with them. Now, brothers, you know, in your everyday life, you may talk to some people, all right? And, you know, like the scriptures say, be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Okay, so you might talk to certain people, even Edomites. You know, you might be, you know, on the outside, on the external level, cool. All right, but you're not buddy. You're not going to their house and, all right, and having family cookouts with them, or, you know, anything like that, man. Okay. You know, now brothers are seasoned. You guys know how to operate. I ain't got to go too much into detail. All right, but the whole point is don't be buddy with these people, man. Okay, with these Edomites. All right, because they're not your friend, and you Jakes are gonna find out real soon that these Edomites, they hate you. All right, and a lot of Jakes are actually finding that out. You know, I mean, of course we've been knowing, but you know, you have this concept, this way of thinking of, you know, we're all equal, when that's not the case. Okay, these Edomites are envious. They hate us. All right, even if they try to be cool with you, it's always like with them, because I used to live in Michigan, right? And, you know, I used to be around Edomites. I used to live up in northern Michigan. My brother was in the military, and it was just me and him. All right, my brother's like 5 years older than me. Okay, so it was just me and him, and being around Edomites. Okay, you just see that envious, hateful spirit. Like they always want to start a problem with me for some reason. But these Edomites, they will always be at odds. We will always be at odds. Jacob and Esau. All right, even in the womb. Think about that. In the womb, it was a battle going on. All right, you know, Rebecca inquired to the Lord, like, if I'm pregnant, why am I thus? Like, what's going on? And the Most High broke it down to her, like, 2 nations are in thy womb, and one shall be stronger than the other. All right, and that's talking about Jacob, the Israelites, because we are better, stronger, more gifted, talented than Edomites, than all these other nations. We're above all of them. Okay, and Edomites, they hate that. You know, there's another guy on this Twitter that posts, you know, Jake getting with Snow, aka white women, and, you know, Edomite men are mad in the comments. All right, they hate to see it, because they know their women want us. They know that their women prefer Jake over them, and it's always been like that. Okay, but let me just keep going. Let me see if I can find. You know, well, yeah, there's one picture. Look at all these Edomites he's with. Nolan Wells right there in the middle, or towards the right. Okay. Exactly. That's one put. Nolan Wells' death is all over my timeline. I'm seeing mostly black folks talking about it and saying this is a cautionary tale for why black parents should side-eye these kinds of friendships where their child is the only black kid, which we're not black. Black and white was a social construct created in the 1600s, 1685, I believe. in West Virginia. Elder Malcolm breaks that down all the time. It says what looks like acceptance and belonging could end up being a trap, right? 4th of July, Mississippi, an island water of cluster of white boys, one black boy missing. Nobody bothered to report him missing. That combination of facts lands in the black imagination with historical weight and triggers our collective nervous system. Black people are not reacting in a vacuum. We carry a whole archive of similar stories. Yeah. We know what water has meant. We know what boys being boys has covered. We know what accident, right, quotation marks, has sometimes been asked to explain. We know how many black deaths have become official shrugs because the living white witnesses were granted innocence before the dead black youth was granted humanity. Now, that does not mean we know what happened here, but it does mean we know why black folk are suspicious. Very. Okay? Let me just see.
Near Ocean Springs. Oh, yes!
I don't want to hear this sodomite speak, actually. Let me see. According to his white friends, they said they thought Nolan joined another boat home. Meanwhile, new witnesses reports and photos have emerged showing that Nolan got into a fight, you see, with some of the white guys around 4 p.m. at the beach and then mysteriously turned up dead. Look at that. The only Jake over there looked like. Okay? Look at this. And when I seen that photo, when I seen this is the photo that was first shown. Everyone was like, yeah, we know what happened. It's like you don't even have to read the story to know what happened. Okay? Now I'm going to go back to that video, but first let me get the scripture. All right? Never trust thy enemy. Uh, 12 verse 10. Slaki. Let me see. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Right? Iron will inevitably rust. All right? Esau Edom is always going to be wicked. All the way until, he's put out of this fucking earth. Excuse my French. He's going to serve 1,000 years in hardcore bondage slavery under the Israelites, starting with the Lord's elect. Okay? And after 1,000 years, this guy's going to be wiped away. It tells you in Obadiah. Okay? But he's going to always have that innate nature of wickedness. That's just who they are as a people. Just like how Jacob is the righteous. Okay? Our people are going off, all right? But nevertheless, we're God's people. We're the Most High. We're Yahweh's children. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. You can see right through him. And thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away. Right? So that's some wisdom right there, man. Just because, and that can apply to anybody, just because someone smiles in your face, don't just take their kindness. Don't just think that they're, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't think it's sincere, because it can be, you got to read people, okay? You got to read people, man. It can be disingenuous. It can be malicious intent behind, So you got to just be careful. You got to just, just read people, okay? You got to read people, man. Because there's some people that will set you up, even women. They'll act like they like you and all that, and they set you up, okay? So let's go back to that video and play.
Reporting live from Irish Club, Friday Plus News, I'm John Abba. Breaking news coming out of our coverage on the case of Nolan Wells, a young black man who would end up missing on a remote island with a group of friends in Mississippi, in which he would be found.
Mississippi, man, that's like known for just, that's known for so many atrocities done unto Jake. The Deep South, all right? A lot of plantations are still out there today, still standing today in the Deep South, all right? On my mother's side, because, Judah, they came from the Deep South, all right? Both her great-grandparents, all right? Or grandparents, I should say. They, one came from Georgia, and then the other side, her mother's side, came from Mississippi. And you know why they had to leave? Because of racism, okay? Because I guess one of my great uncles got with a white woman, or that was how the story went. And you know Edomites, man, when they find out a so-called black man get with a white woman, oh man, it's World War III. All right, that's like the worst thing, you know. That's like the worst thing. They can't handle it, because ultimately, like I said, they know their woman wants us. All right, because we could do everything better. I'll just put it like that, you know. And Edomites are hateful. They're envious. Okay.
To shore 2 days later. At the center of the conversation lies what happened to the 18-year-old that day, in which this unanswered question has left many feeling that foul play is involved. Now, a part of those reasons for some is Wells appearing to be the only black friend amongst his group of all-white friends that he traveled to the island with. While another reason is that there was a reported argument that took place on the island amongst those same friends and Nolan. Now, as mentioned, the family has hired civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, who will now lead an independent investigation at autopsy. On Wednesday night, Crump would sit down with ABC News, where he would discuss his involvement with the case. And now, to the shock of viewers, would reveal that Wells' parents saw that messages were deleted out of his phone before it was returned to them by one of those friends.
Yeah, see, what were they covering? What were they hiding? You know? So it's a lot of foul play going on right now. And you parents, man, you got to watch who your children are surrounded by. Even amongst Jake, again, our people, you know, they have surpassed the deeds of the wicked. Our people are in a very wicked state as of right now, definitely. So you got to watch your children, who are they surrounded by. Okay? You know, you got to vet people.
What was going on with his cell phone?
Yeah, and that's something that's really troubling to his family as well. The guys on the boat, they said Nolan stayed, but they took his cell phone? That's not adding up to...
Yeah, that's very weird. Yeah, he stayed, but it's come on. It's 2026. What individual will leave their cell phone with somebody else? Think about that. No one's gonna leave their cell phone behind. That right there is a red flag by itself.
Damn. Then when the family gets the cell phone back, Lindsay, they're saying they are trying to understand why they're deleted messages. And so...
Now, as mentioned, many have already started pointing fingers at Wells' group of friends whom he traveled to the island with, and their silence for some appears to be very suspicious. On Wednesday, the mother of one of the boys, named Warren, would finally speak after more and more people continued to accuse her son of being connected to Nolan's death, and even the concern with her being a judge. On her Facebook, Ashley Cole would say, "Our family, along with the community, grieves the loss of Nolan Wells. Our thoughts and prayers are with Nolan's family. Our son Warren loved Nolan dearly. Unfortunately, I feel that it is appropriate for our family to dispel some rumors with facts based upon the social media attention that is being diverted away from the Wells family and their loss. Yes, I deactivated my Facebook, given the very heightened emotional state of social media right now. I fear for the safety of my child and my children. My husband and I have 6 children, and we covet their privacy. We do not believe it is appropriate for our minor children's photographs to be circulated throughout the internet, presenting potential threats to their safety. I graduated high school with Christine Wells Wansley. We are from the same community. I have the utmost respect for her and all the Wells family. We mourn the loss of Nolan with them. Our prayers have been and will continue to be with them. My husband and I were not at Horn Island at any point on 4th of July. No one in our family is trying in any way to impede with the investigation by law enforcement or to otherwise hamper the family and law enforcement's quest for answers. Warren was interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taking on water, and they had an issue with the bilge pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and returned inland later with another group of friends. Yes, I am a judge. I also value transparency. I apologize if anyone was offended that I deleted my social media. There were no nefarious motivations in my deleting my social media. Social media has a lot of positives, but a whole lot of negatives. We live in a world of clickbaiting, sad but true. My family is hopeful that this information will help redirect the attention to the Wells family, their grief, and their need for our community support. Now, despite what they're hearing from other parents and the sheriff expressing they haven't found any evidence of foul play, Nolan's family is not letting up. As Crump would point out in his interview with ABC News, there are some clear inconsistencies taking place, like the young lady who Nolan was last seen speaking with, sharing that Nolan went back to the boat his friends were on, while those friends, as you can see, are saying that Nolan...
Yeah, see? Lies. Everything's going to be revealed. Okay, but again, this goes to show you cannot trust your enemy. Edomites will always be at odds with Jake, man. Okay? They hate us. They have it's an innate nature to be hateful and envious towards Israelites. Okay? Let me get that scripture in Ezekiel. Since thou hast not hated blood. Let me see, I believe that's 35. Ezekiel 35, verse 5. Because it's talking about Esau, Edom. I'll start at verse 1, actually. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. Now, what is Mount Seir? Let's just go on chat. Actually, I'll go on Grok. I like Grok lately. What is Mount Seir? And who were the inhabitants? Give me 1 second. So they're having difficulty, so hopefully it goes. Mount Seir is a mountainous region mentioned frequently in the Hebrew Bible. I'm gonna get to the point, okay? It refers to a rugged mountainous area in ancient Near East, primarily in what is now southern Jordan, stretching southeast from the Dead Sea toward the Gulf of Aqaba and the northwestern Arabian Peninsula region. It forms part of the territory of Edom, Edomites, okay? So-called white people. That was their original homeland. Also called Idumea, all right, Greek for Edom, and later periods. Located east of the Araba Valley, the desert rift south of the Dead Sea. The name Seir likely derives from the Hebrew word for hairy or shaggy, possibly referring to the rugged, forested, or goat-like terrain, or a person's name as explained below. And Edom was, Esau was actually known as a hairy man. Okay, it is often used poetically, representatively for the whole land of Edom. Right. Ultimately, the descendants of Esau, they were living there. Okay. It says Esau himself is sometimes called Seir in reference to his settlement there, and the region became central to Edomite identity. You see? Let me keep going. Let me just see if there's any more. So that was their homeland. Okay. It says, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee desolate. Right, you Edomites are going down. You're going to serve hardcore bondage for 1,000 years in the kingdom, and then after that you're going to be burnt. You're going to be wiped away. All right, you're going to go extinct, the whole nation. I will lay thy cities waste, and they shall be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Here's the point. Perpetual means what? Let's get that definition real quick. Perpetual means what? Perpetual is an adjective that describes something continuing forever, happening all the time, or a lasting for an unlimited and uninterrupted period. Okay. It comes from the Latin word perpetuus, and is used to emphasize that something is never ending, everlasting, or ceaseless. So let's go back. It said what again? It said, verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, a forever, never-ending hatred towards who? Towards Israelites. Okay? And hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. Right, when we were put in hardcore bondage, okay? Even afterwards, when we were so-called free, because we're not necessarily free, but even afterwards, that's when the Ku Klux Klan formed, okay? And they were lynching Jake, burning whole Black Wall Street, and so many other Jake communities that were actually doing more, that are doing better than white communities. That shows you the innovative, you know, that spirit of Jake, man. We can thrive through anything. We just came out of slavery, and within like what, almost like 100, not even 100 years, like 80 years later, we were thriving better than Edomites. All right. It says, therefore, as I live, said the Lord, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Said thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Right. Because you didn't hate blood, you know, these Edomites are destroying the whole earth, okay? But, you know, the most important part is they touched the apple of the Most High's eye. So you're going to get dealt with, you know, you Edomites, man. All right? So let's continue.
Never got back on the boat with them.
And then you have the young lady make a statement, and she says, Nolan and I finished talking, and Nolan said he was going back to the boat. The boys on the boat said, no, Nolan told them he was going to stay with her. So which is it? And all we know is Nolan is dead.
Now, according to Benjamin Crump, the independent findings from Nolan's new autopsy is expected to come in on Friday. And if there were deleted text messages from Nolan's phone, there are a few possible ways those messages will be recovered and hopefully exposing what took place on the island that day. Let's talk about it more in the comments below. Now that we're hearing that there were deleted text messages in Nolan's phone before it was returned to his family, what do you think needs to happen next? Reporting live from Hypers Club,
So,
Pride Plus.
That's it, man. All right. You know, just be, you know, of course, brothers in the truth, we know. We ain't buddy with Edomites. Hell no. And if you doing that, man, check yourself, man, for real. All right. But, you know, be careful. That can apply to anybody. You know, like I got the scripture earlier, you know. What was it? Ecclesiasticus. Never trust thy enemy. All right. Never trust thy enemy. Okay. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. Okay. You gotta vet people. You gotta watch body language, all that, man. Okay. You know, because a lot of people, a good number of people, I should say, have evil intent, have malicious intent. Okay. But yeah, man. All right. This just goes to show that Esau, Edom will always have a perpetual hatred towards Jake, man. You know. So hopefully, you know, this was edifying. All right, on to the next one. Shalom.